Have you ever woken up in the morning feeling drained, unmotivated, and utterly lost without knowing why? Have you ever wondered why, no matter how hard you try, you feel like you're being pulled backward, as if an invisible force is holding you in place? The answer might shock you. It's not because you're inadequate or lack ability, but because you're surrounded by people who are quietly undermining you every day, without you even realizing it. Some people don't need to raise their voice or openly criticize you to hurt you. They destroy you silently, with vague remarks, skeptical glances, or negative reactions disguised as kindness. They don't need weapons because their mere presence, repeated day after day, is enough to sap your energy, erode your confidence, and choke your dreams bit by bit. If you want to protect yourself, if you truly want to grow, you must learn to recognize these people. You cannot heal in an environment that wounds you. This video will open your eyes. I'll share 11 types of highly dangerous people you should steer clear of, whether they're friends, colleagues, or even family. And if any of this resonates with your life, don't just watch. Take action. Hit the like button, leave a comment below, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content to help you become stronger, wiser, and freer every day. Number 1, the complainer. The complainer is the type of person who can turn a sunny day into a storm cloud with just a few words. They don't shout or make a scene, but their presence carries a heavy, oppressive energy, like dust settling over every hope. They're the ones who leave you exhausted after just a few minutes of conversation. The most dangerous part? They often don't realize they're doing it. Or they do, but they don't care. Complaining is how they survive. Complainers never run out of things to be negative about. Rainy days are too wet. Sunny days are too hot. Work is overwhelming, but free time is boring. They see life as a series of injustices, wrongs, and disappointments. Spend too much time with them, and your brain starts to adopt their pessimistic lens. If you're not careful, you'll begin agreeing with them, or worse, becoming like them without noticing. They don't just vent negative emotions, they pull you into their spiral. Every time you offer a positive idea, they're ready with a reason it won't work. It's not that easy. You think you can do that? Why bother? Life's tough anyway. These remarks sound normal, even familiar, but look closely. They're slow drip poison seeping into your mind. They could be the coworker who endlessly grumbles about the boss or the company, but never leaves. They might be the family member who constantly criticizes their own life, yet refuses to change. Or the close friend who calls you only to unload their woes, never asking how you're feeling. They use you as an emotional dumping ground, and you politely bear the weight. Sadly, the more you tolerate a complainer, the more you lose your own clarity. The human brain mimics its surroundings. When you're around someone who constantly whines, the part of your brain tied to negative emotions becomes more active. Over time, you'll find yourself irritated, negative, even anxious without knowing why. The solution isn't to hate them, but to set clear boundaries. When they start complaining, don't engage. Change the topic. If they persist, stay silent. If they still don't stop, be direct. I want to keep things positive, so I'm sorry, but I can't take on more negativity today. They might be shocked or upset, but remember, you don't have to sacrifice your mental health to maintain a toxic relationship. If there's someone close, like a family member or partner, you'll need time and strategy to adjust the relationship without causing major conflict. But the first step is protecting your inner boundaries. Don't accept their words as truth. Don't let their emotions control yours. And most importantly, don't let kindness make you a victim of their repeated negativity. Remember, complainers don't destroy you with knives. They do it with words, looks, and relentless negative energy. They drain you without lifting a finger. and you have the right to break free. If you've been around someone like this, share your story in the comments below. How did you handle it? How did you overcome it? I want to hear from you, and others need to read your story too. If this section hits home, don't forget to like the video to help the YouTube algorithm spread this message further. Subscribe to catch the next parts because the other toxic types are even more harmful and far more subtle. Number 2, the excuse maker. The excuse maker isn't lazy, they're just masters at disguising their stagnation with a cloak of reason. They don't say, "I can't do it," but rather, "I was going to, but..." That phrase sounds harmless, but behind it lies a sophisticated defense system to shield their ego from failure, responsibility, and fear of judgment. They don't confront problems, they wrap them in procrastination and toss them to tomorrow. You've probably met them. They're full of plans and ideas, but always have something holding them back. A busy day, a stressful week, a family member who needs help, poor health, or conditions that aren't quite right. Every time you see them, there's a new logical excuse for why they haven't started. These reasons sound so reasonable you almost feel bad calling them out. But excuses don't produce results. Life doesn't reward reasons. It rewards action. Excuse makers live in high-level self-deception. They believe they're almost ready once they solve one more small issue. They think they're full of potential, just waiting for the perfect moment to shine. They live in an imagined future that never arrives. This creates a dangerous form of self-soothing. They don't feel like failures because they believe they're waiting for the right time. But the truth is, the perfect moment never comes. Only those brave enough to start amid imperfection move forward. Worse, excuse makers can slow you down if you're too close to them. When you take action, they plant doubts. Are you sure you're ready? Seems a bit early. If you fail, it'll be a waste. Maybe wait a little longer to be safe. These comments aren't overtly destructive, but they sow hesitation. They make you think preparation is the priority, not action, and you start to mirror them, delaying under the guise of logic. If you're striving to grow, an excuse maker is like an anchor tied to your leg. They won't push you forward. They'll pull you back to their comfort zone, not out of malice, but because your progress threatens the framework of excuses they cling to. If you succeed, they're forced to face their own self-deception. So, unconsciously, they try to hold you back. That's why you need to spot them early. Set boundaries. You don't have to listen to every excuse. If someone keeps talking about what they plan to do, ask directly, "Have you started yet?" If the answer is no, smile and move on with your journey. Don't let their stagnation infect you. And if you catch yourself making excuses, forgive yourself but don't indulge it. Awareness is the first step. Action is the liberation. Understand this. The biggest reason for failure isn't lack of opportunity. It's lack of courage to start. Life doesn't pay you for what you meant to do, only for what you accomplish. Every time you say, "I was going to," ask yourself why you haven't. You'll find the real issue isn't external, it's internal. Fear, doubt, or the habit of procrastination wrapped in words. The excuse maker is a living lesson. Don't become them, and don't let them drag you into their cycle. Small, repeated actions are always stronger than grand excuses that never start. Be the one who begins, even when things aren't perfect. Perfection comes after action, not before. If you've had a friend like this or been one yourself, share below. Escaping the excuse-making habit starts with recognition. If this resonates, hit like to support the channel. Subscribe to catch the next parts, as the list of toxic types continues with even harder to spot, more dangerous behaviors. And don't hesitate to share this video with loved ones. It might just wake someone up from the mask they're wearing. Number 3, the gossiper. The gossiper doesn't always look like an enemy. In fact, they often appear with a friendly smile, a caring attitude, and attentive ears. But don't be fooled by their charm. Once they leave the room, you'll be the next topic of their stories. They don't build. They drain your mental energy with fragmented, toxic tales designed to sow division. They plant seeds of distrust, nurture insecurity, and turn relationships into a silent battlefield of comparison, judgment, and conflict. Gossip isn't just idle chatter. It's a control tactic. Gossipers often lack real power, so they create a sense of importance through information, or what they claim is information. They become the center of attention by sharing whispers, doubts, or "I heard that" statements to provoke reactions. The more people listen, the more significant they feel. But the cost is trust, the glue of any real relationship. Gossipers are skilled at hiding their true intentions. They might start with a seemingly caring comment. "I'm really worried about her. She doesn't seem okay lately," only to follow with a string of unrequested, unverified details. They don't truly care. They just want you to see them as the keeper of the truth. In workplaces, this type is especially dangerous. They undermine team unity, sow doubt among colleagues, and turn professional relationships into a tangled mess. The scariest part? Gossipers don't work alone. They need an audience. And if you're not careful, you could become their cheerleader without realizing it. Every time you nod, agree, or listen without objection, you fuel them. While you think you're just being polite or curious, they see it as a signal. You're a potential audience, part of their toxic network. The only way to neutralize a gossiper is to refuse to play their game. When they start bad-mouthing someone, ask directly, "Have you told them this? Or do I need to know this?" These questions are a mirror to their truth. They're not sharing information. They're spreading poison. If they feel ignored, they'll eventually back off. A victory for you. More importantly, ask yourself, why are they so comfortable sharing other secrets with you? Do you really believe they won't do the same to you when you're not around? If someone betrays another's trust to entertain you, they'll betray you to please the next person. Honesty lies not in their words, but in who they tell, when, and why. Keeping your distance from gossipers protects your mental peace. Each piece of gossip may not hurt immediately, but it builds into a fog that clouds your mind. You start seeing people through a lens of suspicion instead of trust. You learn magna cum laude to judge instead of connect. That's how the poison seeps in, bit by bit, until you're part of their system without realizing it. In a world where information spreads fast, the strongest people are those who stay silent. Be the person others trust, not because you know a lot, but because you never share what doesn't need to be said. That's the model to aim for, and it's how you make gossipers irrelevant. When you don't engage, they're forced to find their exit. If you've been hurt by backstabbing words or lost a relationship over a trivial rumor, comment below. Your story could be a wake-up call for others. If you spot a gossiper in your circle, don't hesitate to share this video to give them a chance to reflect. And if this topic resonates, hit like and subscribe to join me in uncovering more toxic types that quietly harm your energy. Number 4, the envious. Some people never say what they truly feel, but you sense the chill in their gaze, the tension in the air when you share good news. That's the envious. They don't wish harm on you. They just can't stand it when good things don't happen to them. Their silence, avoidance, or bitter-edged compliments reveal it without words. The envious don't always look like villains. They often hide as friends, family, or understanding colleagues. But behind every compliment is a subtle jab. "Oh, you got promoted. Must be lucky. New car. Bet you took out a big loan." These seemingly harmless remarks are designed not to celebrate, but to diminish. They can't bear your light because it exposes their darkness. Envy isn't just an emotion, it's a corrosive mindset. The envious don't want what you have, they just want you not to have it. They don't find joy in your failure, but they feel relieved as your success no longer mirrors their stagnation or discontent. They often don't recognize their envy, rationalizing it as it's just luck or someone must be helping them. Their danger lies in not needing overt action to harm you. They do it with subtle comments, unfriendly looks, or absence when they should support you. They don't openly oppose you, but they don't cheer for you either. Their lack of enthusiasm is a refined rejection. You start to wonder, did I do something wrong? When you're just doing too many things right. The envious reflect your fears. Fear of being hated for succeeding, abandoned for growing, or lonely for moving forward. That's why many shrink themselves to keep the peace, but you weren't born to fit someone else's mold. If you must choose between pleasing them or living your potential, the latter is always worth it. Don't try to prove or explain yourself to the envious. They don't want to understand. They want to diminish. Silence, persistence, and shining brighter are your clearest responses. Each success without argument cuts off the envious energy they try to impose. But recognize limits. If someone constantly belittles your achievements or makes you feel guilty for your happiness, it's not passive envy. It's toxic behavior. You don't need to maintain a relationship out of politeness or history. Walking away isn't selfish. It's maturity. If you felt shame for succeeding or wondered why trusted people never truly celebrate you, you're not alone. Share your experience in the comments. Speaking out can be your first step to reclaiming power. If you know someone struggling with envy around them, send this video as encouragement. Hit like and subscribe to keep exploring the types quietly draining your energy and learn to protect yourself in this challenging world. Number 5, the hot-tempered. Have you ever felt like you're walking on eggshells around someone, never knowing when they'll explode or which innocent remark will be misread as an insult? That's the hallmark of the hot-tempered. They don't need a real reason to get angry. Just a slight deviation from their expectations can turn a conversation into a battlefield. The danger? They make you believe you're the cause of their outbursts. The hot-tempered don't just disrupt peace with loud voices, cold stares, or uncontrolled behavior. They sabotage your inner stability more subtly by making you overly cautious. When you constantly adjust to avoid setting them off, you're programming yourself to live in fear. That's not harmony, it's submission. A relationship sustained by your silence to keep the peace is just a carefully disguised lie. They often justify their behavior with excuses like, "I'm just being honest," "I'm hot-headed but don't mean harm," or worse, "blame you. If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have gotten mad." This is emotional manipulation, dodging responsibility by burdening others. You become their punching bag, then feel pressured to apologize. This cycle isn't just exhausting, it ruthlessly erodes your self-esteem. The hardest part isn't their anger, it's the feeling you must endure because they've endured. Many hot-tempered people have faced traumatic childhoods or stressful environments. Learning that shouting is the only way to be heard, but past pain is never a license to hurt others. You can empathize with their struggles, but no one has the right to weaponize past wounds in the present. You can't love someone enough to change them. Submission doesn't calm them, it teaches them anger works. Every time you stay silent, avoid conflict, or force a smile to soothe them, you reinforce their aggressive behavior. Silence doesn't keep you safe. It makes you more disrespected. The solution? Set clear boundaries. Boundaries aren't confrontation. They're self-protection. When someone crosses the line with anger, you have the right to walk away, turn off your phone, or temporarily cut contact. No one gets to hold you hostage to their rage. Respect isn't negotiated after shouting. It's the foundation of any healthy connection. You're not responsible for fixing the hot-tempered. Emotional maturity is their journey. If they're unwilling to manage their emotions, staying only makes you a permanent victim. Many confuse kindness with endurance or love with blind compassion. But love should never come with repeated harm. Listen to your instincts. If you feel anxious before meeting someone, rehearse your words to avoid triggering them, or lose yourself around them. It's not friendship or love, it's control. You deserve better, calmer, kinder connections. If you've lived with a hot-tempered person, share your story in the comments. You're not alone. If this content helps, like and share to help others escape toxic relationships. Subscribe to keep exploring how to protect yourself from those quietly hurting you. Every click is a step toward inner freedom. Number 6, the drama magnet. Have you ever met someone whose life seems like a constant storm? Every week brings a new earth-shattering story, a betraying friend, a broken relationship, a toxic colleague, or a string of unfathomable events, as if the universe always targets them. These people don't live in normal reality. They live in a drama of their own making. Welcome to the world of the drama magnet, who attracts chaos like a magnet pulls metal. Drama magnets don't just encounter trouble, they need it to feel alive. They don't seek solutions, they seek a stage. Any situation can be inflated into a tragedy to grab attention. When they're not the star, they make you the lead just to drag you into their emotional vortex. They manipulate with pity, theatrics, and unnecessary crises. The danger is they're not always obvious. At first, they seem sincere, open, and profound. You feel they trust you, sharing their pain and wounds. But then you notice something odd. Everyone around them is labeled a betrayer, villain, or toxic. No one escapes their heavy stories. Listen closely, and they're always the victim, with every situation revolving around them. Drama magnets thrive on extreme emotions. They make you feel guilty if you don't react quickly or strongly enough to their issues. They want you to rage for them, suffer with them, fight for them. If you stay calm or offer a realistic perspective, they'll say you don't care. They don't want a companion. They want a co-star in their scripted drama. Their long-term presence in your life has silent but serious consequences. You lose energy constantly handling their crises. You feel drained from always being the listener, mediator, or rescuer. Most importantly, you lose the line between helping and being used. If you're stressed about missing their messages, anxious about not responding fast enough, or guilty for living normally while they face endless issues, you're caught in their toxic emotional cycle. They may make you believe they can't survive without you, but the truth is, they'll always find a new supporter, because chaos, not you, is their addiction. The solution isn't to fix their lives. Drama magnets don't want advice, they want an audience. When you stop reacting as expected, they'll call you cold or uncaring. Don't fall for the guilt. You weren't born to solve their every tragedy. You don't owe anyone a permanent place in their emotional swamp to prove your care. If you have a friend or family member who's a drama magnet, don't confront, just consciously withdraw. Maintain boundaries, limit contact, and don't get pulled into irrelevant stories. Focus on protecting your mental energy. Don't let kindness become a tool for exploitation. If you've been in such a relationship and escaped, share your story in the comments. It could light the way for someone trapped in an emotional vortex. If this helps you spot a drama magnet in your life, like and share the video. Subscribe to keep gaining tools to build inner peace and break free from toxic connections step by step. Number 7, the Naysayer. Have you ever excitedly shared a new idea, a goal, or a small joy, only to be doused with cold water by someone saying, "That's not easy, I don't think it's feasible," or "sounds risky"? If this left you deflated or doubting yourself, you've likely encountered a subtle but toxic type, the naysayer, the sower of doubt. Naysayers don't shout or openly sabotage you, but they quietly crush your spirit and aspirations with pessimism disguised as realism. They don't believe in change, personal effort, or your ability to do something different. To them, the world is full of risks and failures, and the best way to live is to avoid trying too hard. The danger is that naysayers are often close to you: family, friends, colleagues, or even people you respect. They don't outright say you'll fail, but they plant seeds of hesitation. "I've seen others try that. It didn't work." Or, "The market's tough. Don't dream too big." These words seem harmless, but hear them enough, and you'll start questioning, maybe I am delusional. Naysayers don't understand that dreams need faith, not fear-based scrutiny. They limit themselves with past failures, assuming it's the universal blueprint. Instead of learning from their pain to inspire others, they pull you into their stagnant comfort zone, where nothing moves but nothing fails either. A clear trait of naysayers is their inaction. They're never pioneers, never try new things, and feel threatened when you aim to break out. Their negativity isn't concern, it's disguised insecurity. When you do something different, you reflect their stagnation, and they can't handle it, so they attack with doubt to make you shrink, keeping you from forcing them to face their own fear of living fully. What should you do? First, recognize their subtle impact. Notice how you feel after talking to them: uplifted or drained, clearer or more confused. If you feel uncertain or self-doubting after sharing, it's time to set boundaries. You don't need to argue or convince them to believe in you. Simply protect your dreams by limiting exposure to their negativity. Not everyone deserves a seat in your growth journey. Share your aspirations with like-minded people who inspire, not drain, you. One person's doubt can stop you with a single phrase, but another's supportive glance can keep you going. Choose wisely. If you've been your own naysayer, telling yourself, "I'm not good enough," or "I'll fail again," it's time to change your self-relationship. Examine where those negative voices come from: a past critic, a painful experience. Those aren't truths, just unhealed scars. You have the right to dream big, to fail and to fail again on the path to a stronger you. Don't let others' doubts or your own stop you from starting. The greatest journeys begin with a brave step, reserved not for doubters, but for those who dare to believe. If this resonates, share your naysayer experiences in the comments. Hit like if you're learning to believe in yourself more each day, and subscribe to catch content that builds a resilient, unwavering inner self. Number 8, the Toxic Positivist. Have you ever been in pain or struggling, shared it with someone, and gotten responses like, "Just stay positive. Think good thoughts and it'll all work out," or "Look on the bright side"? These might sound encouraging, but if you felt dismissed, invalidated, or guilty for feeling wrong, you've likely faced a dangerous type cloaked in sweetness. The Toxic Positivist. Toxic positivity isn't genuine optimism. It's a subtle denial of real negative emotions. These people don't allow space for sadness, hurt, anger, or anything deemed negative. They're always cheerful, optimistic, upbeat, and expect you to be too, no matter how much you're hurting. This doesn't help you heal. It makes you feel guilty for daring to feel pain. Toxic positivists often don't realize their denial of real emotions is the root of many mental struggles. When you're grappling with loss, anxiety, or disappointment, being forced to think positive is like putting a Band-Aid on a deep wound. It looks neat but heals nothing. Instead, you're isolated in your pain, feeling weak for not smiling while your heart breaks. Why are they like this? Many toxic positivists have unprocessed trauma and cope by denying it all. They build an armor of optimism to avoid their inner darkness, expecting others to do the same. They don't understand that healing comes from facing the dark with courage and gentleness, not ignoring it. Worse, they might be loved ones who seem caring, but unintentionally invalidate your emotions. "It'll be fine," they say without listening. "Others have it worse" implies your pain is selfish. They smile brightly and demand you do the same. Not to help you, but because they can't handle the weight of real emotions. If you're around a toxic positivist, hold your emotional boundaries. You're allowed to be sad, angry, or broken. It's human. No emotion is wrong. Only denying them traps you. Don't let anyone make you feel weak for living your truth. You don't need to force positivity to meet someone's standards. Healing starts with accepting reality, even when it hurts. Sometimes the best thing you can do is step back from those who offer fake smiles when you need a kind embrace and a gentle, "I understand." Cry if you need to. I'm here. If your emotions have been dismissed or judged as too negative, you're not alone. Share your story in the comments. It might help others trapped in silence feel seen. If this exposes the dark side of toxic positivity, like the video to spread awareness about real emotions. Subscribe to join the journey of exploring inner depth and fostering healthy emotional growth. Number 9, the victim. In any group or workplace, you'll spot them quickly. The person who always seems fragile, helpless, and steeped in a sense of being wronged. The victim. They don't just complain occasionally. They've built their entire identity around suffering. They don't want solutions or change. They want you to listen and confirm the world is unfair to them. They may seem like they're just hurting, but their ability to drain your energy and spirit surpasses most others. Victims aren't just people who've been hurt. We've all been victims at tough moments, and that's normal. The difference is that perpetual victims refuse to step out of that role. They turn suffering into a weapon, injustice into a tool, and others' pity into their lifeline. Their story is always, "I tried my best, but no one understands. I never get a break. Others always hurt me." No matter how much advice you offer, they'll counter with 100 reasons it won't work. Their mindset often stems from real, unprocessed pain. So they stay in the safe zone of suffering, where they get sympathy, attention, and, crucially, don't have to change. Change means taking responsibility for their life, which scares them more than injustice. They cling to the victim role as emotional armor, using it to dodge accountability for their actions, emotions, and choices. The problem? Spend too much time with them, and you're pulled into their negative emotional spiral. You become their rescuer, comforter, or stand-in problem solver. You try to inspire, offer solutions, even sacrifice your needs to help them feel better, only to end up empty and exhausted. You can't save someone who doesn't want to save themselves. Worse, victims manipulate with weakness. They make you feel guilty for setting boundaries or refusing help, saying, "You're just like everyone else. No one cares about me," to keep you in their sympathy cycle. This isn't just unhealthy, it's a subtle form of emotional captivity, holding you with pity and guilt. The only defense is clarity. Kindness doesn't mean enabling. Empathy doesn't mean taking on their burdens. If you want to help, set clear boundaries. Say you'll listen but can't carry their load. Remind them they have the power to change if they choose, and change starts within, not from others' pity. If you're in a toxic emotional relationship with a perpetual victim, don't hesitate to step back. Pity doesn't nurture, it prolongs weakness. True empathy sometimes requires toughness. The kindest thing you can do is stop playing the savior, giving them a chance to face reality and choose growth. Have you dealt with a perpetual victim? How did they affect you? Share in the comments. Your story might wake someone up. If this resonates, like to support the channel. Subscribe for more insights on psychology, personal energy, and living healthily. Become your most awake self, unbound by those wearing the victim mask. Number 10, the manipulator. If someone leaves you constantly confused about your own emotions and actions, you're likely dealing with the manipulator. They don't yell or act aggressive. Instead, they're subtle, silent, and profoundly dangerous. They control others' emotions with pretense, insinuations, and psychological tactics, making you lose yourself without realizing it. The scariest part isn't what they say, it's how they make you doubt your instincts and reality. A common tactic is gaslighting, making you question your perception with phrases like, "You're too sensitive," or "I never said that," when you clearly remember otherwise. Over time, you lose trust in your memory, emotions, and decisions, becoming dependent on them to define what's real or right. That's when you're trapped in their intricate web of control. Manipulators are often charming and adept at reading emotions, not to connect genuinely, but to steer your behavior for their benefit. They know when to praise, stay silent, act pitiful, or blame. It's all to maintain power in the relationship. You feel like you're always trying to please them, but never enough. You fear doing wrong, disappointing them, or losing their conditional love. They're not just in romantic relationships, but also in workplaces, families, or friendships. They twist situations to avoid responsibility. When exposed, they flip it. "Why are you making a big deal?" Or "You're hurting me." They make you feel guilty for saying no. Doubt yourself for setting boundaries, and stay silent when you should speak up. A clear sign of manipulation is emotional exhaustion after interactions. You question if you're too sensitive, feel like you're always at fault, or shrink to avoid conflict. The truth? No one has the right to control your emotions with fear or confusion. True understanding doesn't come from making others feel small. To counter a manipulator, start with awareness. Track your emotions after interacting with them. Trust your instincts. Don't over-rationalize disrespectful behavior. Most importantly, set and hold clear boundaries, even if they guilt-trip you. You don't need to explain or apologize for protecting your mental health. You don't have to please everyone, especially those exploiting your kindness. A useful tactic is to reflect their actions without attacking. Ask, "What did you mean by that?" Or, "Can you clarify?" Forcing them to face their vagueness. If they dodge or redirect, you have your answer. Transparency is what manipulators fear. It shatters their illusion of power. You're not responsible for healing someone who hurts you subtly. Escaping a manipulator isn't selfish. It's a brave act to reclaim your inner freedom. If you've been manipulated, you're not alone. Many have been there and rediscovered themselves after breaking free. Share your story in the comments. You might free yourself and help others. If this resonates, like to support the channel and subscribe for more insights on psychology, personal energy, and mastering life. Be awake, not controlled by fear, guilt, or sweet words. Number 11, the overindulgent. When listing people to avoid for mental health and growth, few consider the overindulgent. They don't yell, judge, or manipulate overtly. Instead, they over-pamper you, agree with every complaint, support every bad decision, and make you feel, it's okay, you don't need to change. But this quietly stalls your growth. Overindulgent people, often friends, family, or partners, are too lenient, too accepting, too sweet, blurring the real consequences of your actions. You break promises to yourself, they say, everyone does that. You delay goals, they say, you need a break. You act recklessly, they defend you by blaming circumstances. Day by day, they keep you in a sweet but stagnant comfort zone. They're not bad people, but they unwittingly sustain your procrastination, excuses, and toxic comfort. They don't push you out of your comfort zone, help you face truth, or encourage the discipline growth demands. To them, you're always good enough, don't need to change, just be you, even if that you is self-sabotaging with indulgence, laziness, or irresponsibility. The trap is a false sense of comfort, an illusion of love that keeps you stuck in an outdated version of yourself. For example, when you share plans to lose weight, learn a skill, or quit a bad habit, they say, "You're already great, no need to change," instead of asking, "What's your plan?" or "How can I help you act?" They comfort your failures, but don't urge you to rise. They disguise empathy as surrender, making you feel effort is unnecessary or even a betrayal of yourself, praising your current state no matter how it harms you. Why is this dangerous? True growth doesn't come from being coddled, but from honest reflection. You can't become better if you're always told, "You're fine as is." Life won't be gentle just because friends pamper you. Change requires discipline, self-reflection, and admitting, "I'm not good enough here, and I need to improve." The overindulgent robs you of self-assessment as you learn to trust their comfort over truth, avoiding the mirror of self-awareness. Don't cut them off. Stay awake. Not every compliment is love. Not every agreement is support. Thank their kindness, but don't let it derail your growth. Notice how they react to your goals. True loved ones ask, "Have you started?" or "What did you do today?" They don't make you comfortable. They make you accountable. They don't block change. They walk with you through it. If you're the overindulgent one, ask, "Is my kindness holding someone back?" Love shouldn't always soothe mistakes. It should help face them and grow. Love isn't always soft. Sometimes it needs boundaries, honest feedback, and courage to not let loved ones stay limited. If this resonates, share in the comments. Have you been overindulged or indulge others, stunting growth? Honest conversations spark real change. If this video helps, like, subscribe, and share with those who need it. A timely reminder can save someone from a life held back by false comfort. Your life isn't destroyed by obvious enemies, but eroded bit by those you think are harmless. Complainers, excuse makers, gossipers, envious ones, drama magnets, and sweetly negative types all share one trait. They drain your vitality without you noticing. Surround yourself with them too long, and you lose clarity, focus, and control over your life. You don't just need to avoid them. You need a mental defense system strong enough to hold your value amid chaos disguised as friendship or family. Take this from the video. You don't need to explain, feel guilty, or take responsibility for the emotions of those harming your mind. You control who enters your inner world. Be brave to set boundaries, say no to disruptive energy, and walk with the freedom you deserve. If this video sparks something in you, like it to spread the message. Share your perspective in the comments and subscribe to miss no videos that help you live stronger, more awake, and at peace. And we have many more journeys to explore together.